Chosen one. Yes, you, the one they watched, envied, and tried to harm in ways they thought were hidden, the one whose every move they monitored with jealousy and malice, believing Allah had forgotten that your tears, your struggles, and your prayers in the dark went unnoticed. But what they never understood and could never comprehend is that Allah saw everything, every whispered plot, every lie spoken against you, every hand raised to harm you, and every moment you felt alone and abandoned. He witnessed it all, and while they thought He was silent, He was preparing a plan so perfect, so precise, that their schemes would become the very evidence of His justice. Their malice would turn into their regret, and your patience, your steadfastness, and your unwavering faith would transform into power, protection, and triumph. Today, the time has come for you to realize that every attack, every eye that watched, and every heart that wished you failure was never stronger than the one who orchestrates your destiny. And now, the payback not by your hand, but by Allah's perfect plan is on its way, proving that the chosen ones are never forgotten, never abandoned, and always protected. Chosen one, you need to understand this with your entire heart. Every attack aimed at you, every whispered lie, every hidden scheme, every envy-driven glance, every betrayal that pierced your trust, Allah witnessed it all. He saw the people who plotted in the shadows, thinking their malice was secret, believing their envy would bring you down, and while it seemed like no one noticed, every tear you shed in the quiet of the night, every moment your heart trembled in fear, every prayer you whispered when it felt like the world had abandoned you, none of it went unseen, none of it was forgotten. For Allah does not sleep, does not delay without reason, and does not overlook a soul. His heart is watching, and while they celebrated their perceived advantage, He was recording every injustice, preparing a response so perfect that their efforts to destroy you would only magnify the evidence of His justice, turning their envy, their plotting, and their cruelty into their own regret, while your patience, your steadfastness, and your faith became the armor that no human power could ever pierce, proving that every hardship you endured was never wasted. Every moment of suffering was a step toward your elevation, and every tear you cried was a reminder that the one who sees everything, who remembers everything, is orchestrating a payback so complete, so undeniable, and so perfectly timed that the very people who tried to break you will one day witness the power of Allah's justice unfolding before their eyes. Chosen one, understand this truth deeply. The very people who watched you, who scrutinized your every move, who obsessed over your successes and failures, who believed their eyes alone gave them power over your destiny, their watching was never your weakness, it was their own undoing. Because while they spent their energy envying, judging, and plotting, they failed to see that Allah had surrounded you with protection, guidance, and strength that no human could penetrate. Every glance they cast in malice, every whisper they spread in secrecy, every thought they entertained to harm or undermine you, only served to reveal the depth of their own fear, weakness, and vulnerability. While you, the chosen one, moved forward silently, steadily, and faithfully, building a life, a destiny, and a character that they could neither touch nor corrupt. And what they thought would intimidate you or cause you to falter only became a catalyst for your growth, a shield strengthening your patience, a mirror reflecting their own impotence. Because Allah turned their surveillance into a lesson, their envy into a trap for their own hearts, and their obsession into a source of unseen empowerment for you, proving that being watched by the wrong people is never a sign of vulnerability, but rather a sign that your light, your character, and your journey are far greater than they ever imagined, and that every eye that observes in jealousy is unknowingly witnessing the rise of the chosen one under Allah's perfect plan. Chosen one, This is a truth that will shake the very foundation of how the world views patience. Every person who watched you, who envied your growth, who plotted against you, and who hoped to see you stumble believed that time was on their side, that their observation and malice would eventually break you. But what they failed to understand is that Allah uses patience as a weapon more powerful than any human scheme, transforming waiting into preparation, endurance into strength, and silence into a force of divine justice. Every day you endured their scrutiny, every moment you resisted their traps, every breath you took while feeling unseen or misunderstood was being recorded by Allah, perfected, and turned into a catalyst that would expose their envy, their plots, and their weakness for all to witness. And when the appointed time comes, every eye that once watched in secrecy will behold the consequences of their actions, not because of your hand, not because of revenge, but because Allah, in His infinite wisdom, turns observation into punishment, envy into regret, and scheming into undeniable testimony of His justice, showing the world that those who rely on malice, deception, and hidden agendas will never escape the divine plan, and that the chosen one, through patience, faith, and unwavering trust in Allah, becomes a living monument of victory, a proof that endurance under oppression is not weakness, but the very instrument through which Allah delivers triumph, justice, and the ultimate awakening of hearts that once intended harm. Chosen one, listen closely, for this is a lesson that the world rarely understands, and that the hearts of those who sought to harm you can never comprehend. The payback you desire, the justice you long for, the vindication you hope to witness, it is not yours to deliver, and it never was, because Allah's plan is far greater, far more precise, and far more powerful than any human hand or human scheme could ever achieve. Every act of malice that was directed at you, every whispered lie, every betrayal, every envy-driven attempt to diminish your light, every hidden agenda that sought to manipulate your path, Allah saw it all. And while the world assumed in its arrogance that nothing would be done, that they had escaped accountability, that their schemes would remain unchecked, the reality is that He was meticulously crafting a response so perfect that it would surpass the limitations of human understanding, timing every consequence, orchestrating every lesson, and positioning every piece so that when the appointed moment arrives, their own actions, their plotting, their deception, their arrogance will become the very evidence of Allah's justice. The hands that once sought to harm you, the tongues that once slandered you, the hearts that wished for your downfall will all be powerless to prevent the manifestation of what Allah has decreed, because divine payback does not rely on emotion, on anger, or on impatience, but on precision, wisdom, and knowledge that surpasses the comprehension of those who think they are in control. And while they may have celebrated their perceived victories, they were blind to the fact that every attempt they made against you only strengthened the protections, the wisdom, and the elevation that Allah was granting you, making you untouchable by their schemes and inevitable in your rise. The chosen one must understand that human revenge is limited, flawed, and often tainted by pride, but Allah's justice is limitless, flawless, and perfectly timed. And when He moves, the results are undeniable, irreversible, and public in ways that leave no doubt about His power and His wisdom. And so, while they may continue to plot, watch, and pray for your failure, they remain unaware that every prayer against you, every plan against you, and every moment of envy has been carefully recorded, weighed, and transformed into a source of evidence that will testify against them when Allah decides the time is right. And you, chosen one, must remain patient, steadfast, and pure in your intent. For the moment of divine payback is not just about justice, it is about revelation, revealing the truth of their hearts, exposing their malice, validating your endurance, and manifesting Allah's omnipotence for all who witness it. Understand this fully: your hands are not meant to strike, your tongue is not meant to curse, and your heart is not meant to harbor bitterness, because the one who watches over you, the one who orchestrates your destiny, the one who never sleeps, never forgets, and never errs, will execute the ultimate response in his perfect timing, turning their hatred into humiliation, their schemes into lessons, their arrogance into regret, and their envy into testimony of your rise. And in that moment, you will see that the chosen ones are not defined by human perception, human approval, or human revenge, but by Allah's perfect plan, His unwavering justice, and His flawless execution that transforms every attack meant to harm you into a stepping stone for your elevation, a proof of His protection, and a living testimony that when Allah decides, no human power can resist, no plot can succeed, and no envious heart can prevail. For the payback that belongs to Him is unstoppable, undeniable, and eternal. And it is in that truth, chosen one, that you find peace, purpose, and the ultimate vindication that the world can neither give nor take away. That envied you, every tongue that spread lies against you, every hand that attempted to undermine or diminish your light, all of them will one day witness something undeniable, something inescapable, and something perfectly orchestrated by Allah: your rise. The very people who once thought they had the upper hand, who believed that your struggles, your challenges, or your setbacks would break you, will be confronted with the reality that every attempt to hold you down only fueled your elevation, that every whisper meant to defame you only highlighted your perseverance, and that every act of malice, envy, and betrayal became the very foundation for the strength, wisdom, and resilience that Allah was building within you. They watched, they judged, they envied, and they plotted, believing they were in control, believing that the outcome of your life was somehow in their hands. But what they did not see, what they could never see, is that Allah was orchestrating your every step, carefully guiding your journey, turning obstacles into opportunities, transforming pain into lessons, and shaping you into a living testament of His perfect justice and mercy. And when your rise becomes visible, when your triumphs become undeniable, and when your light cannot be hidden or dimmed, every eye that once watched in malice will reflect regret, disbelief, and awe, for they will realize that their plotting never stopped the destiny Allah had decreed, that their envy never overshadowed the blessings He had prepared, and that their malice never weakened the protection, guidance, and power He had bestowed upon you. Every achievement you earn, every step you take toward your purpose, and every blessing that manifests in your life is not just a personal victory, it is a divine statement, a visible declaration that the chosen ones are never forgotten, never forsaken, and always elevated in ways that those who sought to harm cannot comprehend. And as they look upon your life, seeing what they could not destroy, witnessing the doors that were once closed now opening, watching the fruits of your patience, faith, and endurance manifest into undeniable success, they will understand, too late, that every tear you shed, every moment of doubt you conquered, every trial you endured in silence was preparing you not just for triumph, but for a rise so powerful that their regret becomes a reflection of the perfection of Allah's plan, a reminder that He is the ultimate protector, the ultimate judge, and the ultimate elevation giver, and that your journey with all its obstacles, tests, and challenges was never random, never meaningless, and never unnoticed, because the rise of a chosen one is never merely for personal glory. It is a divine testament, a lesson for those who tried to oppose you, and a living proof that Allah's wisdom, timing, and justice are absolute, perfect, and inescapable. And when your light shines so brightly that it can no longer be ignored, they will finally understand the truth they tried so hard to deny, that the chosen one's rise was never in their hands, it was always in Allah's. and every moment of their envy, every whisper of their plotting, and every glance of disbelief only made your victory, your elevation, and your unstoppable rise even more undeniable, profound, and awe-inspiring. Chosen one, listen carefully and let this truth penetrate the deepest corners of your heart. Every moment you felt abandoned, every second you believed that Allah had turned his gaze away, every time you thought the world had conspired against you and that the enemies surrounding you had the power to destroy your life, every tear you cried in solitude, every pang of fear that gripped your heart, every sleepless night spent wondering why the injustice seemed to go unchecked. Allah was present, observing, shielding, and protecting you in ways invisible to the human eye, and while the world assumed silence meant weakness or neglect, the reality is that his silence was never absence. It was a deliberate orchestration, a sign that he was positioning every piece of your life, every step you would take, and every shield you would need against the attacks meant to harm you. For the chosen ones are never left unprotected, never truly alone, and never forgotten. He saw the people who sought to harm you, the plots that were laid in secrecy, the envy that festered in hidden hearts, and the malice that reached into every corner of your world. Yet he allowed you to walk through the fire, not to consume you, but to strengthen you, purify your heart, and prepare you for a destiny far greater than you could imagine. And every step of the way, he intervened in ways that were invisible to those who wished you harm. Doors that seemed closed were subtly guided open. Protection came in forms that no one else could see. Guidance whispered in moments of despair, and barriers were placed between you and the chaos that could have destroyed you, turning every hidden threat into an opportunity for growth, every hidden plot into evidence of his justice, and every moment of fear into a stepping stone for elevation. Chosen one, understand this. The world measures power by what can be seen, by influence, by manipulation, and by control. But Allah measures protection by faith, by trust, and by the unseen hand that moves the stars, the winds, the hearts, and the destinies of men. And the enemies who once celebrated their supposed advantage will soon realize, when the time is right, that every moment they thought you were vulnerable, every time they assumed you were unprotected, and every plan they thought would succeed was silently intercepted, altered, or nullified by a protection so precise that it cannot be explained by human logic, only by divine wisdom. He made you resilient when your heart wavered. He made your path straight when the world tried to twist it. He surrounded you with unseen forces that repelled harm, guided your steps away from disaster, and transformed threats into lessons. And every challenge that came at you, every attack that should have weakened you, only served to demonstrate the perfection of his care, his timing, and his unwavering attention to the one he has chosen. You see, the chosen ones are not merely protected by chance or circumstance, they are shielded by the very hands of Allah. And this protection is not always loud, it is not always visible, and it is not always immediate. For his ways are higher than ours, his timing perfect, and his methods beyond comprehension, yet its effects are undeniable, its presence unmistakable, and its power absolute. Because while the enemies of the chosen ones plot, watch, and envy, thinking their schemes are unnoticed, Allah turns every plan into a vehicle for the chosen one's elevation, every glance of malice into evidence of his justice, and every attempt at harm into a lesson of his divine care. And so, even when it felt as if you were alone, even when it seemed the world had abandoned you and your enemies had the upper hand, every moment was a part of a grand design, every silent protection a sign of his love, every unseen barrier a demonstration of his power, and every delay in the execution of justice a preparation for the perfection of his plan. Chosen one, hold this truth firmly in your heart. The enemies who tried to touch you, the people who envied you, and the ones who sought to destroy you, have never truly understood the magnitude of Allah's protection, for while they relied on human weakness, deception, and malice, Allah relied on His infinite knowledge, perfect timing, and unparalleled power. And when the appointed moment arrives, every plan that was laid in secrecy, every scheme that was whispered in envy, every eye that watched you hoping for failure, will bear witness to the truth that the chosen ones are never unprotected, never forgotten, and never abandoned, and that the one who controls the heavens, the earth, the winds, the hearts, and the destinies of all creation is the one who shields, guards, and elevates His chosen in ways that no one else can see, comprehend, or interfere with. Every challenge, every attack, every whisper of harm, and every hidden malice that ever came your way was not a sign of Allah's absence, but a testimony of His precision, a demonstration of His care, and a promise that He alone is the protector of those He chooses, and that His protection, silent, unseen, and perfect, is the very reason why you are standing today stronger, wiser, and closer to your destiny than ever before, ready to witness the unraveling of every plan that was ever intended against you, and to see, in absolute clarity, that when Allah protects, nothing can harm, nothing can obstruct, and nothing can prevent the fulfillment of His divine will, for the chosen ones are enveloped in a fortress that no human hand can penetrate, no envious heart can breach, and no evil scheme can overcome. And it is in this truth, absolute, unwavering, and eternal, that you find peace, confidence, and the assurance that Allah is always near, always watching, and always protecting His own. Chosen one, this is the ultimate truth you must ingrain in your heart and soul. You are living proof that Allah's justice is perfect, flawless, and unavoidable for every attack that was aimed at you, every whisper that sought to slander you, every betrayal that tried to break your spirit, every envy-driven glance, and every scheme that was laid in secret has not only been witnessed by Allah, but has been meticulously transformed into a part of His divine plan to elevate you, protect you, and expose the truth of those who opposed you. And while they believed that their malice, plotting, and hatred could prevail, they failed to see that their own actions were creating a mirror that would one day reflect their intentions and reveal the reality of their hearts, a reality that cannot be hidden from Allah's justice and that will manifest in ways they could never anticipate. Every tear you shed, every moment of fear, every time you felt alone, abandoned, or unheard was not wasted, for Allah turned those moments into a foundation for your strength, a platform for your elevation, and a canvas upon which His perfect justice would be displayed. And now, as you stand resilient, steadfast, and unwavering, your life becomes the undeniable testament that the chosen ones are never forsaken, that patience under oppression is a sign of divine wisdom, and that every attack designed to harm only contributes to the ultimate unveiling of truth and justice. Consider the enemies who once celebrated your perceived vulnerability, who rejoiced in your struggles, who plotted in secrecy thinking no one saw. They are now unwitting participants in the proof of Allah's justice. For every plan they set in motion to harm you has either been neutralized, reversed, or redirected in ways that benefit you, strengthen you, and validate your endurance. And when the appointed time arrives, their eyes will witness the results of their own malice turned against them. Their ears will hear the echoes of the schemes they crafted, failing in ways they could not control. And their hearts will feel the weight of consequences that were never meant for you but for them, as Allah's justice, precise and unerring, unfolds exactly as He decreed, proving that He is the ultimate protector, the ultimate judge, and the ultimate elevation giver. Every moment of your suffering, every attack against your character, every trial designed to test your faith, and every hardship imposed by those who wished you ill, has been a part of the preparation for this moment, for your rise, and for the manifestation of justice in a way that human hands, human minds, and human intentions could never achieve. And while they may continue to plot, watch, and envy, they will remain powerless to alter the divine plan, because the justice of Allah is absolute, timeless, and perfect in every sense. And you, the chosen one, are the living, breathing, walking proof of that justice. A reminder to all that no act of malice goes unnoticed, no whisper of envy escapes his sight, and no plan to harm the righteous can succeed when he has decreed their protection, elevation, and ultimate victory. And so, as you move forward, as your light shines brighter, as your path becomes clearer, and as your blessings manifest in ways they could never have imagined, know this with certainty: the chosen ones are not defined by the attacks they face, the envy they endure, or the betrayal they experience, but by the perfection of Allah's justice that turns every hardship into triumph, every tear into testimony, every attack into proof of His care, and every enemy into a witness of His absolute wisdom, power, and justice. And in that realization, you find peace, empowerment, and clarity. For the world may not understand the perfection of Allah's ways, the enemies may not see His justice, and the skeptics may never believe. But the chosen one, standing strong, enduring with faith, and walking in victory, knows beyond any shadow of doubt that Allah's justice is perfect, unstoppable, and inevitable, and that every trial, every plot, every attack, every betrayal, and every moment of struggle was simply a part of the grand plan that confirms your rise, your protection, your vindication, and your unshakable position as one of the chosen ones under His divine care. Chosen one, now you must understand with every fiber of your being that every tear you shed, every trial you endured, every attack aimed at you, every whisper of envy, and every malicious gaze that watched in secret was never wasted, never unnoticed, and never beyond Allah's control. For what they intended for harm, Allah transformed into your elevation. What they hoped would break you became your strength, and what they plotted in secrecy is now becoming undeniable evidence of His perfect justice, proving that the chosen ones are never abandoned, never unprotected, and never forgotten. Every step of your journey, no matter how painful or hidden, has been part of a divine plan meticulously orchestrated to honor you, vindicate you, and reveal the truth to those who opposed you. And now, as your light shines brighter than ever, the very people who watched, envied, and sought your downfall will witness the reality that Allah's justice is flawless, His protection is perfect, and His timing is unmatched. And while they may have thought themselves powerful, their malice has only served to strengthen your faith, your patience, and your position as one of the chosen ones, proving that revenge belongs not to you but to Allah alone, that victory belongs to those He protects, and that the rise of the faithful is unstoppable, inevitable, and divinely ordained. So stand tall, chosen one. Trust in His timing, embrace your path, and know that every enemy, every attack, and every challenge has only paved the way for your unstoppable triumph, your undeniable peace, and the manifestation of Allah's perfect justice for all to see.